Hi, everybody, once again. It's Jen from Psychic.biz. We're giving this another shot. We just had a few technical issues a few moments ago, so we're about 5 minutes behind, so we're just giving it another shot, starting over again. So, once again, it is March the 28th. It is Monday, Easter Monday. We just finished having our Easter long weekend where I had mentioned that we had lots of chocolate and Easter bunnies and rabbits and all that fun thing, all those fun things. But at the same time, we also had a very religious weekend for many of us worldwide, where we were celebrating various different aspects of our own beliefs and our systems. So once again, thank you for joining in with us this weekend, or this holiday Monday, for our Psychic.biz live video broadcast. My name is Jen, and I'm actually one of the managers at Psychic.biz, but I am also a psychic as well. My private website is psychicgen.ca, and you can contact me there for a private reading if you're looking to speak with me. Now, I am representing Psychic.biz, who is our sponsor for this evening. And this evening we also have Aeson and Sonia and Nadina Haynes, who are psychics available at Psychic.biz, available to provide to you insights, personal readings into your own questions and situations as well. So you can contact them via Psychic.biz. I believe Aeson has a very awesome special happening right now. I think it's about $1 or $1.25. Maybe I think it might be 99 cents a minute for live chat and phone sessions. You can contact him, and Sonia is also very reasonably priced as well. Now, just before I do introduce you to them, I do want to mention that Psychic.biz also sponsors radio shows over the course of the week. So I personally have a radio show on Tuesday nights at 9:30 p.m. on A1R Psychic Radio that is sponsored by Psychic.biz. It's a half-hour show where you can call in and get a free reading with myself. Now, Wednesday nights, Aeson has his show, which is on Blog Talk Radio at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, psychiccoffeeshop.net. And you can contact him there, and he also has a guest as well on his show, which I will actually be a guest with him next week on April the 6th. And Thursday nights, we have Lady Catherine from Lady Catherine Live. She's on the All1 Broadcast A1B radio station, and her show starts at 8 p.m. And Lady Catherine does normally join us for our video live streams. However, she's in the process of moving from Italy back to the United States. So for the next few weeks, she's going to be off air. Hopefully she is watching in, but she's unable to join us for the live chat until she gets herself reestablished back in the United States. And last but not least, we have Sonia Nadina Haynes, who's with us this evening. She also is an advisor at Psychic.biz. She's available for live chats as well, video readings, as you'll see her here in video as well. She also has a radio show each and every week on Sundays through Blog Talk Radio, and she'll mention that time to you as well. This week we're going to be talking about spring energy. We just I mentioned Easter. We just had last week. The season has changed from winter to spring. We also had a lunar eclipse on the 23rd as well too. So lots of things were happening last week. Lots of changes in the atmosphere and our planets and whatnot. And that's what we're going to talk about this evening. We're going to talk a little bit about spring energy and how we can use that energy to benefit ourselves personally and within our lives. So that said, I'm going to pass it over to Aeson so he can introduce himself and lots of good other information.
Hi, I'm Aeson Knight. I co-host the Psychic Coffee Shop on Wednesday nights. This Wednesday, we were supposed to have Lady Catherine, but with her moving, she may not be able to come on. So that means that we will have Psychic Roundtable, which is just straight call-ins all evening long for your questions, and of course our hot topics that we cover every week. And I am an advisor at Psychic.biz, and my rate until July will be 99 cents. So you can reach me there, and if you use the spring code SPRING16 and you're a new client, that actually is going to give you a total of 10 free minutes with me. So you're able to reach me through Psychic.biz at that rate, and all it takes is topping up your account. So I'm going to pass you over to Sonia, and she's going to tell you a little bit about herself.
Hi there, I am Sonia Nadina Haynes. I'm an author, emotional healer, and a spiritual coach. I do workshops. I have one this weekend, the 2nd and 3rd of April, called Heal the Healer Within. I do have my own blog talk show called Change Your Mind, Shift Your Life Talk Radio on Sundays, and Jen will be joining me on the 10th, I believe, yes? And so we'll have a great time then. Our switchboard fills up because I'm doing a half-hour show. We only have so many callers, so it's a good idea if you call in to get your your quick readings, and they are quick. We are speed readers there. It's like a speed date. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the show tonight. I love the idea of spring. Spring is my favorite season. I grew up in New York City, and even though it was snowing outside, I knew when spring was coming because I could smell it in the air. So welcome to the show.
Welcome. All right. So Jen, why don't you take it over and start off on spring and how to get into it?
Yeah, absolutely. So because I use the tarot for my divination when I'm working with my clients, I wanted to just mention to you in regards to spring and what is connected with tarot as well too. Again, I connect very well with the tarot cards, and I have a deck of tarot cards that I've been using since I've been 16 years old, and this deck has never been touched by anybody other than myself. So I actually use the tarot quite frequently with my readings, and the tarot does have symbolization as well when it comes to astrology, as well as their seasons and the elements as well. So for spring, the tarot card for representing spring is actually the Empress, which is the third major arcana. And the Empress is one of the higher of females. It's not the highest female, as the High Priestess is, but she's second down. So she is representative of mother energy, fertility, and that's the energy of spring. So when we're talking about spring in the tarot cards, the Empress is the card that represents the season. Now, again, if you look at the card, it does show that she's holding the earth, and that means she is embracing the earth. She's giving it love, she's giving it energy, she's giving it warmth and order for a spring and for growing to occur. Now, the energy of spring when it comes to the tarot and divination of this sort is about new beginnings, planting those seeds, things that we're doing now. We are going to manifest over the course of the next few months, over the course of summer, and harvest them in about 6 months' time in fall. And that's what we're going to see as well happening with these eclipses that we just endured over the last few weeks. Normally, eclipses take about 6 months of time to develop and to grow. So things that are happening now in the season of spring and with these eclipses, the crazy events, things that have happened out of nowhere, things that you've never imagined, job changes, relations changes, births, deaths, everything that has happened over these last few weeks, over the month of March, has been a shock, or shock to the system, or have come up unexpectedly. This is what's going to happen and grow over these next few months, and again, the energy of spring. So the energy that's happened, it's going to transform, and those seeds that have been planted, those ideas that have been planted, and those situations that have occurred are going to continue to manifest, continue to grow, continue to change over these next 6 months into the fall, where we have our next set of eclipses happening later this year. So that whole energy of spring and planting and things that we're working towards, wanting to grow, wanting to make happen and occur in our lives is happening right now. So one of the things that I do for spring to work with the spring energy, the change of season, and the moon cycles as well, is I normally do a little ritual that I just light a candle, and I do write down my intentions, almost like a wish list sort of thing for the next 6 months, and things I'd like to see happen and grow and achieve personally, professionally, and for my family, for my friends. And I plant those seeds, those intentions, and make those things want to grow over the next few months so I can manifest and harvest them later. So that for me is the energy of spring and something that I do. And again, I use the tarot, use the Empress card in help with my rituals as well too. So again, a very simple, easy thing to do is just write down your things you want to manifest, a little wish list, a few things. For example, I want to lose some weight. I'd like to be able to run a full 5K, which is happening in June. And also, hopefully, my son will be able to get into university later this year. So we're just waiting, fingers crossed, for those acceptance letters to come through. So those are things that I'm working on manifesting and that I put in my ritual last week when the season changed from winter to spring. And just to mention where I'm at, I'm in Eastern Ontario. Spring kind of sprung last week, but tonight it's snowing again. So no signs of spring just yet. We are still in the middle of snow. We still have about a foot of snow left in the front yard, and it is snowing as we speak. So this is what I want to just mention about spring, and I'll pass it over to Sonia. Sonia, what do you have to say about spring, dear?
Well, as I said before, spring is my favorite time, and there's a wonderful Greek mythology Demeter's daughter, Persephone, was kidnapped and taken into the underworld by Hades. He fell in love with her, wouldn't leave her alone, and then he tricked her and took her into the underworld. But Demeter didn't know that he had taken her, so he took her around the fall. And Demeter cried and went across the whole planet looking for Persephone. And as she did that, she decided nothing would grow, nothing would sprout. There'd be no greenery on the planet at all. And so all the gods went to Zeus and said, okay, guy, this is getting out of hand. Human beings are starving. We need to do something. So he made a deal with Hades that he would send Persephone back out from the underworld. Well, one of the funny things that Hades did was he gave Persephone a pomegranate to take with her. And he said, you must not eat it. If you eat one seed from the pomegranate fruit, you'll end up coming back to Hades. So she went up, she saw her mother. Mother was so happy that green grass started sprouting, flowers came up. Sounds like spring, right? And so, but of course, Persephone couldn't resist eating one of the pomegranate seeds. And so they made a deal that she'd spend part of the time in Hades, part of the time on the earth. So this is a Greek mythology, and in my world, I always look at winter as a time for planning your year, getting it all. It's like putting all the ingredients together for the pot of soup, and then spring is the time where you start putting it together, start cooking, sauteing your onions and your mushrooms and all the vegetables and adding the stock. So this is a time where you start working towards creating the things that you want. You start to focus on them, putting, it's like the archer focusing on the bullseye. This spring is a time when you start to focus. You can smell it coming, you can smell all the possibilities, and you just put your aim and pull the arrow of your dreams towards the goal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And for me, I look a bit at the symbolism, the seeds, the new ideas, the new things, which tie into the Greek mythology there of things sprouting up and seeds having hidden wisdom, and us, planting with intentions. And I've actually suggested to customers before, go plant a flower, write the name of your boyfriend on it, put it underneath the flower, and tend the flower as if you're tending the boyfriend till he gets back. That works really well. And, we look at, we just came through the Easter season and, the Ostara season, and you see the colored eggs, and, eggs is fertility and growth. And we look at the Easter bunny themselves, and, rabbits themselves has always been a symbol of fertility and multiplication and having plenty. So this is the time that you start wanting to figure out which thing you want to have plenty with. For me, it's the time I start looking at, okay, this is what I want to achieve by this time, this is what I want to achieve by that time. So you just got to stay focused on it and stay really direct with it. And start really cleaning out, spring cleaning starts when you start taking out, pulling out all that crap out of your closet that you've mounted up through winter and getting rid of it. We need to do that emotionally too, with the stuff we're emotionally challenged on. So that's what spring is for me, is, new starts, new beginnings, but also cleaning out that backed up stuff. What about you, Jen?
Absolutely, yeah. I was thinking about that I wrote. I wrote a book about, it must be 10 years or so ago now, and it was actually about the same sort of thing. It's actually the title of it is You Only Better, and it talks about that as well too, about cleaning out, getting rid of all those cobwebs, getting rid of things that no longer serve you, doing that virtual spring cleaning for yourself and your life, and getting rid of all those things that you can get rid of and release in order to allow better and new things to grow, to come into your life. That's better energy for you and for the time being, because we always have lots of stuff, lots of clutter, emotional clutter, physical clutter, feelings, people, places, things, all that stuff that doesn't serve us any longer. And tying in with spring, that spring cleaning thing, getting rid of all those things that no longer serve us anymore, personally, professionally, and in relationships and within our family. So, doing that virtual spring cleaning, cleaning out the clutter inside your head, doing some meditation. There's an awesome meditation happening right now, actually, through Oprah. It's a 21-day meditation about releasing the weight, but it's not the weight necessarily of your body. It's the weight that we carry around with ourselves. And again, tying into that theme of, releasing that spring cleaning. And it's actually a very good meditation that I've been following through. I haven't caught up with all of them, but it has been very good and does make a lot of sense. Releasing those things, releasing the weight, which ultimately allows us to be happier and healthier people. We can sleep a lot better and just get a lot more done, on all levels of our life. So using this time and this energy of spring is the perfect time to do that. And, when you're sitting in the house, when all these rainstorms are going on, what else can you do? You can clean up the clutter inside and inside emotionally as well, too. And there's many ways that we can do that. Again, meditation, you can do that through Reiki, you can do that through other energy healing. Angels, you can use that through angels as well, too. And one of the things is you can actually contact a psychic, one of our advisors, one of our psychics, and talk to somebody about that energy and how can I do things, what can I do, what needs to be released from my life, and the psychics at Psychic.biz absolutely help out with determining what needs to go, what needs to be released, who, what, where, when, and to clean up things in your life. Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, it's interesting. I like that idea about cleaning out the cobwebs, cleaning out the dust bunnies from under, the emotional dust bunnies from under your life bed. Because we do get really comfortable with the status quo. We get really comfortable with the not so nice things. We get too comfortable with the things that are not comfortable. It's like sitting on a bed of nails, and after a while you say, oh, it doesn't, you start off screaming your head off because it hurts, and then eventually you say, oh, it doesn't feel too bad, and then it gets so comfortable, the thought of leaving it becomes frightening. And that's what intuitives or psychics or spiritual advisors do for you. They give you the opportunity to be brave enough to get off that uncomfortable place. Find some vision, some idea of where you're going, so that you can gain the courage to make that step, to make that, to move away from the things that are not comfortable for you, right?
Right. Very much so. And something that I tell people to do, a lot of people look at me weirdly about that, is I say go buy new brooms, new mops, new everything that you're going to clean with, and take a moment and say a little prayer over it. Doesn't matter which prayer, who you pray to, anybody else, just say a little prayer over the cleaning spots. And then use that to clean your house. Because it changes the energy completely. It's more than just moving things around and getting rid of the old. There's emotional energy that's built up in that house. I don't know about you guys, but when I've stepped into a home when there's been a lot of bickering, fighting, divorces, breakups, money, you can feel it. I mean, that house may be so clean that you can eat off the floor, but it feels as filthy as if it was not cleaned in 10 years.
Absolutely. And I tend to want to wash my hands. The second I go near someone or go a place, it, as you say, it might be clean, but the minute I get home, I immediately go to the sink. That means that energy I was in was not the most positive, right?
Right.
Right. Absolutely. One of the things that I do is a basic water cleansing. Whenever I've had somebody in my home that has that bad juju, that bad energy that comes, sometimes you can't control it. You can't stop that at the door. So they come in, you just sort of go, get me my salt right away. And as soon as they're gone, I'm out there getting my salt, my water, and I'm washing stuff down where they were sitting, the floors, everything. And that's very basic thing that you could do is the salt water. And that helps with pretty much everything because salt cleanses. And one of the things that I've also done as well too, after I do large psychic parties, or even after I have a really, a very toxic, not really toxic, but taxing reading with a client, I'll even go and have a saltwater bath afterwards before I'll do any other readings, just to clear the energy, to clear what's happening. And what I've picked up from that client or that situation. Something else that I've done as well too in the past is when I used to go to work. When I used to work for a very negative energy place, and after spending a few hours working, I would be so drained. I would be so emotionally not me, and that one of those things is taking a saltwater bath and totally would fix everything up, totally remove all the bad energy, bring about the new again. So that's another thing that can be done very easily. Salt water. Something else that that just came to my mind thinking about cleansing is our cards. As psychics, we also cleanse our cards or our divination tools as well too with salt. And one of the things that I do very, very commonly with my cards, once a season, or at least once a season, but sometimes after those wacky readings, I'll take my deck, I'll put them in coarse salt, put them in their little home, and I will put them at the window so the sun hits them and then the moon hits them, and then after a day or so, then I feel they're cleaned again and I can use them again with clients, just like a fresh deck of cards. However, that deck that I've only used, that I have touched in the last 25 years, has never had to be cleansed. I feel very good about it because it has just my energy, so I feel that I'm the best when it comes to that.
Yeah.
Something that I use also is Florida water. I have it in a spray bottle just to mist like the cards or the rooms, but I like taking it and just like dusting my hands with it, the Florida water, and then like rubbing it on the doorknobs that the people have touched when they've come in and they've been all cranky and all. And then also something my grandmother used to do all the time was if she didn't like somebody, she'd go sweep the porch when they left.
Actually, yeah, my grandmother used to do that as well. Yeah, those people who live on the coastline near salt water, the Pacific or the Atlantic Ocean or the sea or wherever, I've had clients who've been so strongly affected by had past relationship that was so negative or destructive emotionally to them, that I actually marched them down to the ocean and dumped them head first down into the water. It doesn't matter how cold it is. They're all, but give them a baptism 3 times in that cold, icy water, and boy, do they end up coming up effervescing. So, yeah, that's another option with the salt, is that, if you live on the ocean, and I guess maybe that's why people on the ocean are so happy, a lot of them, because they go into the water, they give themselves a good baptism, and they get flushed and cleaned by all that salt water. So it's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. The water, the energy of water is about emotional healing, right? So the water in our element is about emotions, and which normally comes with relationships for the most part. And so whenever we have to sort of cleanse ourselves, even just going down to the ocean, going to the water, going to the lake, many of us feel so rejuvenated when we go to the cottage, when we go to the lake, we go fishing, when we go out. That's why people do it. They're out enjoying, they go for a swim, anything like that will definitely cleanse the soul as well as the energy around. Now, talking about not necessarily salt as in a stone or a crystal, but hematite is one of those things that I always keep around as well too, which is a neutralizing sort of thing and a grounding stone and agent that I always normally keep one in my left pocket. Left, I'm not quite sure why. I've always been told that left because that's where your heart is. Going down the left-hand side is where the majority of your vital organs are located. So I always keep it in my left pocket in order to neutralize any energy, grounding myself, keeping that handy. And whenever I found myself in situations, I used to work in a methadone clinic. So working in a methadone clinic, you definitely be up against some situations where you sort of felt uneasy or you're uncertain what's going to happen. So I would always be grabbing that hematite stone that was always in my left pocket and sort of rubbing it and just holding it in my hand. Just going like this between the fingers would make me feel better, would make me feel more grounded and neutralized in that energy and sort of keep things at bay for the most part, let's say it like that. But a hematite is also good as well for, if I'm not mistaken, is it arthritis as well too? Something like that with the joints as well too. The people, when they're wearing the hematite, that helps with the joints as well too, to neutralize that energy or that pain that they feel. So I'm not quite sure, is it amethyst or is it rose quartz that also maybe works with sort of neutralizing as well as cleansing as well? Do you know, Aeson, offhand?
Hematite's great, especially if you're a type that gets empathic information. I tell people to go buy those Hematite rings all the time. Now, rose quartz is great for neutralizing anger, energy. Angrier, emotional stress is the hematite, especially, not hematite, the rose quartz. Amethyst is just going to boost everything. Boost every psychic fiber you have in your being. So if you're trying to like shield and block yourself, you don't want to be carrying around any amethysts there.
Yeah.
So do you work with crystals and gems and rocks and all those fun things?
Oh yeah. Oh gosh, I've got them all over the place. And for me, the crystal tells me when it, because today I thought, oh, I should put on something, and they said, nah, so I left them alone. Hematite. Okay, so you mentioned the left side of your body is your intuitive side. It's your psychic side. And then you mentioned all the most of the organs are there. Okay, so our intuitive self is protecting our organs. How cool is that? But Hematite is magnetic, right? And if they put it through a certain machine, it actually will become magnetic and magnetize to each other. So it's really good for the base chakra, for your blood and your foundation. So that's really quite neat when you feel the need when you pull it out, because it's literally grounding you, right? And yeah, which is cool. And then the rose quartz, just use it to I put it in the bath when I go for a bath, because it helps me bring the love. Because, you give out so much. I bring my raw rose quartz into the bathtub with me, and it helps me bring love back to myself. So, it's I love the softness of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very comforting and comfortable to be around.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, I was just going to question. I was just remembering we were talking about spring, and I was looking up, and I see one of my angel cards looking back down at me, and I just remembered that we were talking about earlier tonight too, and the energy of spring. And Sonia, did you mention Raphael was our angel for spring?
That is the angel of spring and of the east, and of course, east is the spring. And of course, I love Raphael. When I was going through my hard time, and I was being grumpy and groany and all that nonsense, and he'd just show up and say, okay, what's up, girl? And I'd be like, okay. Just funny, humorous. He's also which is interesting that he's the one for the archangel for spring, because he's the companion of travelers. So when you go on a travel, especially for intuitives, if you travel from one place to the next, working with people, Raphael is the archangel that travels with you. And I mean, right now we're traveling out of the womb, the winter into spring. So it makes sense that he would be there.
Yeah, and actually I was just going to mention that's the angel that was looking down at me, is this little card, Angel Raphael. And the reason why, I got that actually when I was in Rome. I was actually just thinking about that as you were mentioning it prior to our conversation this evening. And Raphael, I found this little card in a little shop at the Vatican, and it is the Archangel Raphael, and it has a prayer on the back of it, which is really cool actually. It's a little prayer, and it mentions the same thing when you're saying traveling. Yes, the traveling, I always seem to take this with me when I go long distances. I've seen little amulets and little trinkets in windows, connected to the beads and whatnot as well too for Raphael. But Raphael is actually our angel of healing as well too, right? And of emerald green is Raphael. And again, we just had spring again, which is emerald green colors, the green grass, and energy of that growth. The green is the growth, as well as prosperity and abundance and all those awesome words and things that we can contribute to spring as well too. I remember one time I actually cut myself when I was working once. It was not a very fun cut. I was bleeding quite profusely, and the first thing I said was, Raphael, come and look after me, and within moments the bleeding had stopped. Which was surprising, because I really could have used a bunch of stitches there. I was working all by myself at the day, and I don't think I would have been able to get myself to the hospital. So Raphael was the quick fix that actually comes to our aid whenever we are needing him. So keep that in mind, everybody, that the spring is Raphael as well too, which is healing. And again, healing our past. The winter has been brutal for some of us. Those winter energies. A lot of people get depressed over the course of the winter because there's not as much sun, we don't get out as much, all those things that happen to us over the course of the winter months. So Raphael is now here with us in spring to get us revitalized again, get us energized again, get us outside, get us walking, get us breathing that fresh air again, and enjoying life as it should be lived.
If that snow would go away.
Yes, that darn snow.
Well, I've got rain, so I feel like I'm in Vancouver. I don't have to miss it.
Well, there's an old German legend about the goddess, let's see, which one is it? The Mother Goose one, the Veiled Lady, and so they talk about every time it snows, she's making her beds fresh so that she can drain fresh things for the earth to come. So you guys are she's just sleeping, making sure that you guys get everything you need extra.
Yeah, I remember that story. Yeah, she shakes her feather bed so hard that the feathers fall in the form of snow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for me, every time I see the snow, especially spring snow, because spring snow is different from winter snow. It's much brighter for us here when we get it. Granted, we're now moving into thunderstorms and lightning and the hard chasing weather, but that just shows more how heavier changes occur. Is sometimes they're nice and they're, let's have some nice April rain. And then sometimes it's that, nope, you got to do a change now. Snap, break, thunder, lightning, territory out, break some wind down. So you're able to move forward and get things functioning and going forward.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I've seen it snow in June, and which sounds kind of crazy, but I mean here in Canada, lots of times it snows in June. Come on, but sometimes whenever things have happened, worldwide, for example, when things are not good, the energy is bad. As an example, let's use Hollywood as an example again. In The Wizard of Oz, when Dorothy is going through and all of a sudden the poppies are these bad, dangerous things that are knocking her out and making her fall asleep and everything. The Good Witch of the West, no, sorry, the Good Witch of the East, no, the North. Which one is she, Aeson? The Good Witch comes along and
Glenda.
That's right. Glenda, that's right. She comes in and she makes it snow, which in turn neutralizes and brings about good energy again and gets rid of that bad, awful spell from that Wicked Witch of the West, So, again, all these things, Hollywood does do it. I mean, Hollywood does take our elements, take our energy, take all these, these folklore and all these things that we've been brought up with years and years from our ancestors and puts it to use. And we don't even realize it. These are things that have happened. How many years ago did The Wizard of Oz come out? And it's, it comes to us now, and we realize and we see these things. And it's just, Aeson said, that spring snow neutralized it, even though the poppies were out and it was beautiful. Still bad stuff, still bad energy was happening, and again, it neutralizes. So that's really cool, that we can actually relate, even though Hollywood does, really do the smoke and whistles and bells with it, but it really still puts the energy and the training, education for us to learn in these things. So this is really cool. That's very awesome. I'm really glad I remember that, actually. So, there's lots of things that come about when it comes to this. Again, we talked about Hollywood with angels last week. We were talking about angels and how Hollywood sensationalizes everything. But again, it really does. They do take elements of real life and of our history and of our belief systems and our religions and does put them into the everyday, and we don't even realize it half the time. So it's really interesting. It's really cool, actually, to see that. And it's one way for our own subconscious to come to terms with that cleansing, to come to terms with spring, to come to terms with cleaning out those things. We don't even realize it. We're seeing it. We're just, it's right in front of us, but our subconscious minds do know what's going on more so than we do.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder, because I wonder a lot about everything that I see, if human beings are just addicted to the pomp and circumstance. We seem to need, otherwise Hollywood wouldn't be able to fool us so much. We're like children that need all that Santa Claus and Easter Bunny. I'm sorry, I don't mean to break anybody's illusion or anything, but the whole idea of an Easter Bunny hopping around and throwing eggs at you, Come on. There's been a bunny in my backyard bouncing around all over the place. I've checked several times. There are no eggs. Chocolates.
Well, they had to come up with some way to incorporate the symbolism that our ancestors used. Rabbits, and this was actually the time for them to be having their babies and for rabbit hunts. So it was a very prosperous time for them. So we had to commercialize it. So why not use Rihanna's bunnies that were part of Easter as, oh well, that's the Easter bunny. And, he's bringing you gifts. That's the seeds and the goals that, our ancestors would be planning out.
Yeah.
I'm getting ready to start planting my garden. And, I plan it with the astrological symbols. And that's the way my grandfather planted and the father before him. And, if they even though they were around me, if they looked and said, oh, that's witchcraft, they'd look and go, no, that's how you do it. What's your problem?
Yeah, that's another thing I wonder about this whole witchcraft thing. I mean, why is it that we have such superstition? I mean, when spring comes around, the magic that is there called the seasons, when the winter ends, you have the eclipses. Why are we so afraid? Why are we so afraid of these things and put these labels called witchcraft and such on it? Why are we so afraid? Because in my journey, a lot of people, I've in the past, when I first started doing this work, I've had people put, aluminum hats on their heads because they're afraid that I was going to read their minds. So why are people so afraid of this gift, this change, this magic?
Well, for me, I think it's the mystery part of it, the part of them not understanding it, because we can't lay out this foolproof plan of, okay, this is how a psychic reading works. You call me, the phone transmits energy to me, I send my guide that you can't see to go get your file that has a record of what no crap you've been going on, like a bank account, or better yet, your Facebook. Bring it back to me. We lay it out and figure out where you're at within your book, and then tell you where you're headed next time. So I think that's why people get scared of psychics and psychic readings. I think they get scared of witchcraft or ritualistic behavior because it's not a part of our everyday life, even though it was very much a part of our ancestors' everyday lives. I mean, the things that that was just, you just did it this way. Up until probably late 1800s, you would pray over your meals. You would pray over your cleaning products because they were what kept your family safe. And, nowadays it's like, what do you mean it's what keeps them safe? Well, it keeps them safe because it cleans the germs. But back then, they didn't know it cleaned germs. They just know that it made it look pretty, and they wanted to make sure that it would bless or bring that blessing to keep that sickness away. And now we've lost a good bit of that behavior. And I'd like to see a little bit more of it return back. I don't think it was all wrong, and a lot of it is a lot right, and a lot of it really does work.
Yeah, and I was just going to mention about, you mentioned commercialization and how they take our seasons and our holidays and our religious beliefs and all these things like Christmas and Easter and all our important dates of the year, Halloween, Samhain, all those things, and it's commercialized. And the reason why, at least in my mind, that it's commercialized, and what my grandmother actually told me as well too, again, she was quite a very intelligent woman, that we can't understand, or we don't want to agree with or believe in what's really it about. What is really Christmas about? What is really Samhain and Halloween about? What is really all the seasons about? What is Easter really about? And our brains nowadays, we're just so sensitized to everything, and it's even more so now with the internet, with all these devices that we have and everything. We can't handle the truth. We can't handle reality. We can't handle why this is the way it is, because our ancestors could. They knew what they needed to do on whatever day of the month it was, whatever day it was to plant. We needed to do this. If it was this holiday, we need to celebrate like this, and this is why. Nowadays, we can't grasp that. We can't understand that because we are so sensitized to all those beliefs, all those religions. So, we go to church once a week. We go and we listen to the minister preach and tell us these things. But it's commercialized. It's not the real deal. It's not the real Bible. It's not the Book of Enoch. It's not the real rituals that our Celtic ancestors did for us all those hundreds and hundreds of years ago. And the symbolization has now gone from a Yule log to a Christmas tree. Like, really? And things like that. It just, all those different things. And I remember watching a show just last week. It was the Viking show. And I really enjoyed it on the History Channel. And they were talking about Christmas, or the season of Christmas, and they were showing their traditions of bringing this great big log into their domain where they were living, and they were celebrating. They were putting up the mistletoe, and the Vikings were explaining this to the children. This is what we're doing to these gods, and this is what's happening. They brought the Yule log right in. I'm like, look, there's their Christmas tree. So it's like, that is how it used to be. But nowadays, everything is so commercialized. It's about money. It's about greed, unfortunately, the almighty dollar, and a way that we can understand and put it into our brains of what's happening. And it's unfortunate, because I really wish we could go back to our original roots, back to our belief system, back to our religions, back to the days of witchcraft and Wicca and our paganism and our Celtic roots, and embrace those real traditions, and really what Easter is really about, what Oster is really about, what the symbolization of the fertility of the earth and of Mother Earth and the growing and all that good stuff that it is. And then in the fall, when harvesting comes, and Samhain and Halloween and All Saints Day and all those other things that we don't really celebrate, we go out and pick up candy from everybody's houses. Well, what does that really mean when it comes down to the end result? So I really wish that nowadays we could teach our children, which we can do in our own homes, of course, but I wish society would teach our children what the symbolization of these holidays really mean. I mean, our kids, they get 4 days off for Easter, they get a bunch of chocolate, they see rabbits, but do they really understand the true meaning of what Easter is when it comes to Christianity, to our, to Lutherans, to, the Catholic, and to all our religions, that do celebrate? So again, that's one of those things that, we can take on as parents to our children and teach, but also to our clients as well.
Yeah.
Just wanted to do that little rant.
Very good rant it is too.
Well, okay, my household's a multi-generational household. My mother is Southern Baptist. She lives in a household with 3 other pagan people. So it's been interesting watching her discover paganism through her eyes, because, she's in her age. She's older than most, we'll put it that way. But, and she looks, and, I had the Covens here for dinner for Astara, and, she asked what we were doing, and I said, oh, it's Astara, it's about regenerational and fertility and growing and expressing yourself. And she looks at us and says, Easter? And I'm like, yep, it's Easter, Mom. And it took me a minute there to go, yep, it's Easter, Mom. But it's really about the same holiday.
Yes.
Yule, Christmas, the sun god baby, the newborn child. They go together so much in study, and we have so much enervation. It's like, I really want to make a Muslim friend. Now, guys, I know you're thinking, oh my God, he just, segregated somebody, another group. No, I live in West Virginia. We don't have mosque here where I can go up to a Sikh or whatever and go, okay, let's sit down and figure this story out. I'll tell you how the year runs. You tell me where you fit in at. Because if you'll notice, when we look at Wiccan and we look at Christian and we look at Judaism, we're going into Passover here in less than 3 weeks. They're all the same thing. Reawakening the earth, reawakening our souls, reawakening ourselves to a regenerative state.
Yes.
Whether it is, Jesus Christ raising from the dead, or Dementor returning to the Earth, or, Bridget escaping from the Caliac, and taking back her wand and bringing it back into full greenness. They're all the same thing. Our ancestors could deal with, oh, you call it that. Oh, how funny. That's an interesting name for the holiday. We call it Easter. Or, oh, you call it Osar. How interesting. And they would go on.
Yeah.
And this stuff really didn't start to matter until about Victorian era.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. When I was little, and we loved Good Friday, although it was the day Jesus died, and then we got scared because the ghost might come out of the grave and start chasing us around, because that's what we thought. That's what we were told. But we loved Good Friday because we weren't allowed to light the fire in case you burned Jesus. That's what my grandmother said. And then, because he was dying, you didn't want to burn him. But we got to drink soda pop instead of tea. And we got to eat sweet, spicy bun and cheese, which was just fantastic. So we got away with a massive treat, even though they thought they were punishing us because, you're supposed to be punished on the day Jesus died. And what I loved, good. Easter Sunday, because of going to church and listening to the voices raised up and the rays of light and the sunshine and stuff, So, yeah.
Absolutely. One of the things that I remember with Easter and this time of year particularly, one of the things my father always says, my father is a farmer, he is upwards of 80 years old, and one thing that he always says is the snow is always gone by the 9th or the 12th of April. Now, where we live, again, we're in Eastern Ontario in Canada, and where we are, that's one of the things that he always says. The snow is always gone by the 9th or the 12th, depending on when Easter is, depending on where the full moon is, and depending on how the season is coming through and how it's falling. So we were having this conversation talking about why is Easter so early this year? Because last year it was in April, and one of the reasons is because Easter always falls on the Sunday after the full moon, the third full moon of the year. The third full moon of the year is normally always in March, and again, it's normally always about the third or fourth week of March, so Easter Sunday is always after that full moon, the third full moon of the year. Okay, so we were having that conversation. So the full moon falls, various times of the year. We had leap year this year, but again, it's still early. Okay, so we're having this conversation again. I was with my parents this weekend, and then my father said, well, the story of Jesus, being on the cross on Friday, and then rising 3 days later on Sunday. He said, did you ever notice when people pass away and they have their wakes and their funerals, they pass away, they are waked for 2 to 3 days, and then on the third day is their funeral, when they actually have their funeral. So I'm thinking, yeah, you're right, Dad. So we pass away, we do the same thing, we're put in a coffin, in a crate, in a tomb, whatever you want to call it, we're packed away. People do come to see us, of course, to pay their respects, but on the third day, we rise again. On the third day, we have our funeral, we go to church, we have our priest with us and everything, and do all that fun stuff. So the symbolization is still there from all these years. Again, that's what's happening this weekend. The weather, always the weather on Good Friday, around this part anyway, it always rains, it's always dark, it's always gray. And I mean, not being an overly religious person that I am, I mean, I did go to church as a child, I was baptized, married, all that fun stuff in the church, but I am more Wiccan and more pagan in heart, of course. But it's always bad weather on Good Friday. It's always dark. It's always gray. It's always raining. Always, no matter where I am. It wasn't Las Vegas last year when I was there too. On the Sunday, on Easter Sunday, the sun always shines. It's always nice blue sky out, and the birds are always singing on Easter Sunday. Coincidence?
Lovely.
I don't know. Symbolization? I don't know. But again, these are just all things that in my 40 years of living, I've actually come to recognize and appreciate every year when we have this time of the year and the seasons. And I'm really looking forward to April 9th or 12th when all that snow is gone around here. I'm really, really hoping forward for the 9th this year. So about a week or so before all our snow is gone. So I just wanted to mention that this is our show for this evening. We've talked about Easter about different holidays, about different beliefs as well too, and things that we all come to realize, come to enjoy, come to acknowledge for ourselves and for you, of course, our clients. So just before we go, I'm just going to mention again, we do have a few radio shows this week. Coming up, myself is tomorrow night at 9:30 on A1R Psychic Radio. Aeson is on Blog Talk on Wednesday nights at 11 o'clock. Sonia has her show on Sundays, also on Blog Talk, and Lady Catherine has hers on Thursdays at 8 p.m. on A1B. So just a final mention, I'll just pass it over to everybody to say our final goodbyes for this evening. I'm assuming next week we'll be here again Monday nights. We will confirm a time once again so you can all watch in and join in. And please feel free to comment, put questions on our sideboard in our communication in our chat. So we're here to give some free readings and give some free insights, and hopefully we'll have some other psychics joining us as well too in the new month of April. So I'm just going to pass you over to Aeson to say his goodbyes as well too.
Well, and if you miss me Wednesday nights, I'm actually on Sundays at 5, 1, and 7 on the Magic Happens Network, which is the same rebroadcast, so you can listen to it. While you're over there, you can check out Magic Happens Magazine. I'm a writer over there also. And no matter what the holiday was, take the message of regeneration and move forward with it. And the April energy overviews are up on this channel that you're watching, so take a moment and to subscribe so you can get notices when we do the live events, and also when we do, different videos. And hopefully I'm thinking about trying to start something on Saturdays where we pull people in and interview them. So we're going to bounce that over to Sonia and let you know what she's got going on this Sunday.
Yes, thank you very much. I really enjoyed this broadcast again. This was great fun. I love talking about, as you can tell, I can't shut up. I love talking about all this stuff. On the weekend, I'm actually having a Heal the Healer event on Saturday and Sunday, so I guess I will be doing my show on Sunday, where I help you work through your old unconscious belief system, give your inner child a chance to tell you how he or she is feeling.
Sonia, how can our listeners and our viewers get in touch with you to get in to be a part of that? Where is that at?
It's on my own personal website, soniahaynes.com. They might see my name spelled out there somewhere. And
it will be.
Yeah, so SONIAHAYNES. It's not SONYA or JA, it's IA. My name gets spelled all sorts of ways. I don't complain, except it might lead you in a different direction. And I am on Psychic.biz off and on because I write, so I get on as best when I can and such. So I'm on Psychic.biz as well. So drop by either place and say hi and let us have a chat.
Awesome. All right, then. And Jen, I'm going to pass it back to you to give them their coupon code for the spring that we're doing.
Absolutely.
And, to maybe into a little bit of how the sign-up process before we end the show, so that they can know what to expect when you get over to Psychic.biz.
Absolutely, yes. Right now we do have a coupon code available, Spring16. All you have to do is type that in, SPRING16, all capital letters. When you're making a deposit at Psychic.biz, put that coupon code in, you'll get $5 added to your deposit. New clients, when they register, will get $5 free right off the top. So basically, head over to Psychic.biz, join up as a new client, you'll get your $5, use your promo code when you're doing a deposit. So let's say you're going to deposit $15 into your account for the first time, use the promo code, you'll get another $5, you'll get your initial $5, so you're going to have like $25 worth of available credit in order to speak with one of the psychics. You can speak with them via phone, via live chat, via video chat, or get email readings as well. Many of our advisors are very reasonably priced. For example, Aeson has a special running on right now for a few more months, so you can contact him. If you don't see one of the psychics that you're looking to speak with on at that moment, you can send them a message to set up an appointment time. And if you have any questions or concerns, you can definitely contact support, which you'd be contacting myself, and I can help direct you accordingly. We do accept PayPal at Psychic.biz. Along with PayPal, you can use your credit card as well as a bank transfer to make your deposit for your funds. And again, we do have our Facebook page, our Twitter as well, that gives you promo codes, gives you lots of insights, information, lots of good quotes, inspirational quotes as well, that can help you on your day-to-day basis. So with that said, everybody, please do follow us at Facebook and at Twitter. You'll be notified of these awesome live video events, live broadcasting events. And April, we are going to continue doing these videos as well. We've now done a whole month of them for the month of March, every Monday night. So I think we're going to stick with our Monday nights. We're just going to nail down a time. Sometimes we have to adjust our times because life does happen for us as well, too. Even though we're your hosts, life does happen for us as well, too. So with that said, everybody, thank you for watching us again this week. You can watch us again anytime. Through YouTube, contact us directly. I can give you the link if you'd like to follow up with us. Contact either one of us, and we can help you out. We have 70 psychics available at Psychic.biz available to assist you. With that said, everybody, we'll see you next week. Have a wonderful end of March, and when we see you again, it will be April. So with that said, bye, everybody.
Bye.